Baby Fishy here. Hello, hello. Decided to mix things up a little bit today and throw in one of the other puzzles that I enjoy, which is Daily Killer Sudoku on dailykillersudoku.com. This is a difficulty 8 puzzle, which is about the difficulty level I tend to start struggling with. So it will be interesting to see how this goes. But nonetheless, let's jump straight into it, and I will try to explain my thinking as I go. If you are familiar with Killer Sudoku puzzles, some of my logic will be pretty straightforward to you. If you are not, then hopefully I can teach you a little bit. So let's see how we go. So let's jump straight into it, and one of the useful things about this website is it shows you the combinations that are valid for a cell. Of course, we have to play by normal Sudoku rules. Every row, every column, every cell has to be made up of the numbers 1 through 9. And also every cage has to sum to that little number in the top left corner, just in case you are unfamiliar with the rules of Killer Sudoku. Now, using only the digits 1 through 9 without repeating any of the digits, because you can't repeat digits within a cage, that's another important rule I should mention, there are certain combinations, certain cells, which can only be made up using certain combinations of those digits. Some of the more straightforward ones, most of the 1 and 2 cell, 2 and 3 cell cages, and just for the sake of clarity, that's a cell, that's a cage, that's a box, that's a row, that's a column. Pretty intuitive, but just in case. But most of the cages of size 1, 2 and 3 I've got sort of committed to memory because I've been doing this for a while. But for the larger cages, it's helpful because it will show you a list of valid combinations, and if you, like me, don't have the memory capacity to remember all of those, it's nice just to be able to check and cross off the ones that are impossible. Having covered all that, so obviously this 3 here, this can only be made up of 1 and 2, so we can go ahead and fill that in. Similarly up here, 16 can only ever be 7 and 9. 6 can only ever be 1, 5, or 2, 4. We have another one over here, 1, 5, or 2, 4, and a nice little bit of logic we can use here. Once we have this filled in, let's say this is 1, 5. Now this can't be 1, 5 because a 1 or a 5 would have to end up in this square. And now we have 3 squares in this row that need to have the 2 digits 1 and 5, which breaks the rules of Sudoku. So that's impossible. So it doesn't help us immediately, but in a minute, hopefully once I've figured out which combination of digits this can be, that will help me to then remove one of the combinations of digits from this cell, which will then help me put some more digits into this box, this column. Now 30 has to be 6, 7, 8, 9, and that tells us straight away we need to have a 3 in one of these other cells in this column, because we can't have a 3 here. We'd need to have 3 plus 3, which repeats, and this can't have a 3 because it can't have anything less than 6. It needs 6, 7, 8, and 9. And the other digits in here are going to have to be whatever combination of 1, 5, or 2, 4 is not used here. Now, another useful bit of information is what's referred to in some circles as the secret. It is only told to best friends traditionally. So if you are watching this video, I will count you as a best friend, and I will tell you the secret of Killer Sudoku, which was passed on to me by a best friend of mine long ago. And that is the sum of the digits 1 through 9, 1 plus 2 plus 3, up to 9, is 45. So the sum of a row is always 45. The sum of a column is always 45. The sum of a box is always 45. Now, knowing that, you can sum up, and this website does it for you, it's very handy. You can sum up all of these cells here, and this makes up almost 2 rows. Now 2 times 45 is 90, so this would give us a sum of 90. We are missing 2 boxes here from these 2 rows, so whatever these 2 boxes are, they have to give us the rest of our 90, otherwise something's gone wrong. We don't have the right digits in the right cells, we've got the wrong sum. Now looking at that, 73, 90 minus 73 is 17. There is exactly one way that you can make 17 using 2 digits, and that is using the digits 8 and 9. So we can fill in 8 and 9 here, and that helps us in a couple of ways. For one thing, we've got our 8 and our 9 placed in this box, we've got it placed in this column, For another thing, since this can only be 8 or 9 and has to sum to 11, this can only be 2 or 3. So we get a few narrowed down possibilities here, which is nice. And that's basically the process of solving these puzzles, is narrowing it down bit by bit until you have worked out, you've eliminated all the possibilities. You've made it logically impossible for something to go into a particular cell. Now there is a bit of a, I tend to find with these Sudoku puzzles, and they're not set by hand, they are generated by a computer algorithm. Not so much in the difficulty 10 puzzles, which is the highest difficulty usually on a given day, but especially in the lower difficulty rating puzzles, and even up to the level 8 puzzles, there tends to be some sort of, I guess you would say, rotational symmetry here. And you can see here, we've got these two boxes here, left out of these two rows, and if you kind of rotate 90 degrees and look at this, we have the same situation here. And if you look, this whole puzzle kind of has like an axis of symmetry along this diagonal, right? The shapes, everything, like these two correspond to these two. This is symmetrical, this is symmetrical. This W shape here is symmetrical, this corresponds to this. And everything, if you look at it working your way out, this matches this, this matches this, this matches this. So anytime that we can make some sort of logical deduction along, say, this edge, or these three boxes, we have a similar opportunity to make a logical deduction in these boxes. That doesn't tend to apply with the difficulty 10s. I think the algorithm steers away a bit from the symmetry there, but it is an interesting little observation that can sometimes help you to spot other opportunities to narrow things down, and in this case it has done so, because it has given me this sum is 83, now this has to sum to 7. There are 1, 2, 3 ways that you can make 7, those being 1, 6, 2, 5, or 3, 4. And we can actually go so far as to eliminate the 4 from here, because that would require 4 plus 4 is 8, which means we can eliminate the 3 from here. And so we narrow things down a little bit. Now, another thing that you can do is see whether one of the combinations here would contradict both of the combinations possible here. What do I mean by that? So if we were, for example, to say, let's say, how would we do it? 1, 6, and 2, 5. So let's say we were able to eliminate the 3 from this cell. We can't do it yet logically, but let's say down the track we find a way to eliminate 3. Now this can be 1, 6 or 2, 5. Only if it was 2, 5, this could be neither 2, 4 nor 1, 5, and so there'd be no valid combinations left for this cell. So in that case, we would be able to remove the 2, 5 from here, giving us the 1, 6, and that would let us remove the 1, 5 from here, giving us the 2, 4. Now, I'm going to undo all that, because that's only valid if we can get rid of the 3 from here or the 4 from here. But something to keep your eye on for down the track as well, and it's useful to just kind of have a bit of an intuition for where these possibilities are going to be, and usually that translates into looking at the squares that have got the least number of possibilities left. Like this only has one possibility. That's an opportunity that we could use to narrow other things down. This has 2 possibilities, so we may be able to get some sort of contradiction out of that as well. So having said all of that, let's press on and let's have a look here. Now I did notice something when I was looking at this before. What was it? Yes, this, and this. So we can take all of these cells here, and we've got a combination of 3 cells here, and looking at this, it has to make up to 11, right? 11? 90 minus 11, 79, that's 11. Now, knowing that, we need to make 11 out of these 3 cells, which means this can never be a 9, because if this was a 9, then these 2 cells have to add up to 2. The only way to do that is if they're both 1. We can't have 2 and 0, and then we would have a repeated 1 in this column. Doesn't work. So let's get rid of the 9. We know this is a 7. Now, knowing that 7 plus 4 makes 11, there's only one way that you can create 4 using 2 digits, and that's 1, 3. So we get this. Lovely. Now, continuing along that same sort of logic here, there's no way for you to make 20 with a 1 in the cage if it's 3 cells big, because we'll take away 1 from 20, we've got 19. and you can't sum up, I mean, even if you were to use 2 9s in that cage, that would get you to 18. So with the 2 remaining cells, you could never get to 19. This has to be the 3. This has to be the 1. Knowing that this is the 3, that leaves us with 17, which, as we noted earlier, over here, is made up of 8 and 9. And now this 9 gets rid of this 9, this 8, then gets rid of this 9, this 8 here. And so we've placed a few more digits. And would you look at that? Now we have a 3, which gets rid of the 3 and 4 from here. And so what I kind of alluded to earlier has come true. Now this can't be 2 5, because that would eliminate both of these, and so we can remove 2 5 from here, giving us 1 6, 2 4. Now we take the 2 4 out of here, we get 1 5, and the 1 6 here eliminates the 1 from here, giving us the 5 and the 1. Now we can take out 1, 5, and 3, because they all already exist in this cell, and we can take out 1 and 5 from down here. Now, what's left to place in this cell? We have 2, 4, and 6. There's no real reason for us to eliminate one or the other possibility except from here, because the 6 obviously can't go here. So either of these cells could contain 2, 4, or 6. Now, knowing this, we have to have a pair of digits from the set 2, 4, 6. So if it was 2 plus 4, that leaves us with 6 here. 2 plus 6 leaves us with 4. 4 plus 6 leaves us with 2. So we know that this cage here has to be a 2, 4, 6. We can't eliminate the 6 from here, because you might think so at first because of this, but actually we could have a 6 here and a 6 here, and that would be perfectly fine. So nothing wrong with that. We can take away the 1 9 and the 3 7 from here though, and we can note that that leaves us with 2 8 or 4 6. If this is 2 8, this is 4 6, and if this is 4 6, these are both 2, so we can actually eliminate 4 6 from here as well. That takes away the 2, giving us 4 6, which makes 10, giving us the 2 here, 3 4 here, and now we've got these two pairs, a 2 6, 2 8 and a 4 6. So 1 2 3 4, we need a 5, 6 is gone, 7 is gone, 8 is gone, we need a 9. And just like that, we've figured out that this cell, this cage, has to be 3 4 5 9. And that lets us take the 9 out of here as well. So we have made some pretty solid progress, and also we can take a 2 out of here, giving us a 4 6. Now, let's continue to have a little think about this, and maybe I can just plug some digits into some squares. For example, we've got 1 here, we need a 2, has to go in this row. 3, we need a 4, we got 5, we got 6, we need a 7, we got 8, 9. So this is 2 4 7. Up here we've got 1, 2, we need a 3 somewhere in this row, it could go anywhere. No 4s. We need a 5 somewhere here. We need a 6 somewhere here, we need an 8 somewhere here. So that's moderately useful, I would say. What else can we see? In fact, this can't be the 6, so 6 has to go in one of these 3 squares. Now, knowing that this can only ever be a 1 or a 6, that means we can't have the 3 5. If it's a 1, this is a 7. If it's a 6, this is a 2. But we already have to have a 2 up here, so this can't be 2 6 either. It's 1 7. Makes this a 6. And now let's have a look here. So the 9 in this column means that 13 can't contain 9, so it can't be 4 9. Both 6 and 7 in this box mean that this can be neither 6 nor 7, so that leaves us with 5 8 here. And finally, this square over here could be any of the remaining digits, 3 5 8. Good, so we've really narrowed down that square pretty significantly, and now looking at it, we know we need a 1 somewhere in this row. We've already got a 1 in this box and this box, so the 1 in this row goes here. 2, we have a 3, could technically still go anywhere here, so we will place it. So we could have a 3 in any of those. 4, we already have over here. 5 could still go here. 6, we know it can't go here because we've got it here, but also because it has to go here. 7 can't go here. 8 could still work, but because of this 8 9 pair, we can take it out of this square, and we can actually take it out of that square as well. And 9 can't go in this box, so 9 has to go into one of these 3. Now, let's have a look here. We are starting to narrow down our possibilities for this large cage here, 23. Knowing that we have a 6, and either an 8 or a 9 here, that means we have at least 14, either 14 or 15. Now, if we have 14 and we add 9 in this square, that already takes us to 23, and the last two no longer fit because the sum is 23. So we can take the 9 out. And similarly, if we have the 6 and the 9, if we were to add 8 in either of these squares, 6 plus 9, if we were to have 6 plus 8, which makes 14, these couldn't be 8 anyway, because we already have an 8 here. 6 plus 9 makes 15, plus 8 makes 23, so it's too big. Get rid of it. Now, 6 plus 8 makes 14, plus a 5. We'll take it from here. 14 and 5 makes 19, and that would leave us with 1, 3. That's perfectly fine. But we have managed to narrow things down quite a bit, and we can say for sure this now has to have the 9. It's the only place left in this entire row where we can have a 9. Now, what sums to 13? 9 plus 4. Just for the sake of it, we'll take the 9 out of here. And that actually lets us take everything out of here except the 9. We have a 1, 3, 5 triplet here, which means that the digits 1, 3, and 5 each appear once in these 3 cells. So we can take the 5 out of here, because if we put a 5 here, we would have repeats of 1 and 3. It would be 1, 3, 1, 3, and then there'd have to be a 3 here, which gives us double of one of our digits. So the 5 can't go here. This is the 8. This is a 5. This is now either a 3 or a 5. We have an 8 here already. And looking at this, 9 plus 5 makes 14. That's too big. So we can take that away as well. And we also now have 9 plus 1 gives us 10, 3 to get 13, or 9 plus 3 gives us 12, 1 to get 13. So we figured out that this cage has to be 1, 3, 9. Okay, pause for breath. Let's have a look here at this middle box, because we have a 5 here, and so now we have 2 cells here. If we take this sum here, 13 plus 18, that's 31. We add another 5, that's 36. That tells us that we need 9 to get to the 45, which would be the sum for this whole box. So these two here have to sum to 9. There's 4 ways that you can make a sum of 9 using 2 digits below 10. One of those has already been eliminated because of this 5, so it can't be 4 plus 5. Could be 3 plus 6, only it couldn't, because we already have a 3 in this column and a 6 in this column, so this can be neither 3 nor 6, which means this can be neither 3 nor 6. Moving on to our next option, it would be 2 plus 7. Now the 2 can't go here because that would require a 10, so we could put a 7 here, and that would be fine. That would require a 5 here, and a 2 here would be fine as well. And our final possibility is 1 plus 8. Now, the 8 can't go here, so if this was 1 plus 8, this would have to be the 1, this would be an 8, and this would be a 4. And again, there's no problem with this. This is just fine. So let's take a brief moment here to think. And let's maybe look at this 11 cage over here, where we can see that we have 8 and 9 already in this box. This 11 cage is also in this box, so it can't use 8 or 9. It could be 4, 7, or it could be 5, 6. Both of those would be fine. And if you want to look at it this way, you also know this now has to contain either a 4 in the 4, 7, in which case this is a 5, and then we can have neither 4 nor 5 in anywhere else, or it could be a 5, 6, in which case this is a 4, and we can have neither 4 nor 5 anywhere else. So no matter what we pick for this and for this, 4 and 5 are now all used up. We can't place them anywhere else in this cage except for somewhere in these 3 squares. Now it's not enough to be able to pin down their positions exactly, because we still have 3 squares, 3 cells, and 2 numbers to spread between them, but we know that they both have to be in those 3 cells, which means they can't go anywhere else in this box. So we have now successfully gotten rid of 4, 5, 8, and 9, which means the only remaining digits are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are gone, 6, 7. 6, 7. So we could place a 1 here without issue, a 2 here without issue, a 3 here without issue, a 6 here, a 7 here, all of those would be fine. Here we could place a 1, 2, a 3. We can't place a 6 because we already have one in this cage, and we could place a 7. Groovy. Let's see now. Knowing that this can only be a 1 or a 2, and this can only be a 1 or a 2, that means 1 and 2 are used up in this column, so we can take the 2 out of here, making it a 4, and this now has to be a 2. And now what's left to place in this column? We've got 1, 2, we need 3, we've got 4, 5, we need 6 and 7, we've got 8 and 9. So 3, 6, and 7 are the digits left to place here. And there's no reason that any of them couldn't go into any of the squares, not yet anyway, so we'll just write them down. Let's see now. We have got a 3 in this column in this box, and a 3 in this column in this box. We still need to place a 3 in this box, so it can only go in this column. Can we do a similar thing with any other numbers? Yes, 5 and 5. So we place a 5 here. 4 actually bleeds over a bit, so that doesn't help us right now. Anything else? No, not yet. So we don't know what the last digit here has to be. Alright. Just time to stare at the squares a little bit longer and see if we can't figure out where to go to next. And this is where things usually slow down a little bit, at least for me. Once you've kind of taken all the obvious stuff and then followed it all out to its logical conclusion, you've got to start to dig in a little bit and figure out where to look next. There's only 2 ways that you can make 22, so maybe let's just fill those in, 5, 8, 9, or 6, 7, 9. That's something. And maybe I should be looking at these 3 squares here, much like I did up here with, which was it? Those 3 squares, right? That seemed helpful there, and again, that rotational symmetry thing coming into play. So these 3 squares have to sum to 16. Now, I don't have all of the combinations for 16 committed to memory, but in case that you don't, you also have this calculator tab down here. So we want a sum of 16 and a size of 3, and this will give us all the possibilities. Now, we know that this sum cannot contain a 1 or a 2, because those are already accounted for. So we can remove all the possibilities with a 1 or a 2. If it was 3, 4, 9, that would remove 3 and 4 from this square, so that doesn't work. What else do we have here? 3, 5, 8 would be fine. 3, 6, 7 would be fine. 4, 5, 7 would be fine. So these 3 digits have to come from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And can we remove anything from any of these? We could remove a 7 from here. We could remove an 8 from here, and a 4 from here. And I think that'll do us. Now, let's try and work something out otherwise. Well, knowing that this can only be 3, 5, 6, or 7, 3 goes with 5 to make 8, 5 with 3, 6 with 2, and 7 with 1. And those are all perfectly valid combinations here. Well, now, none of our combinations of 11 eliminate all the combinations of 8. None of our combinations of 8 remove all of our combinations of 11, so that's fine. We can leave that alone for now. What can we do here? We've got a 3, 5 pair here, so we can take the 5 out of here, and the 6 out of here. This can only be 7, 8, or 9, and in fact, I'm looking at the wrong tab here. 7, 8, or 9. Well, we could look at another set of 3 digits here, couldn't we? 10 plus 18, and now we can't highlight straight across them to get it to add for us, but that's fine. We know that 10 plus 18 is 28. 28, and then to get to 45, we need 17 more. So what are our options here? Well, let's look at the different combinations of these two digits, and that will tell us what can really go in this cell right here. So we need to make 17. If this is 3 and 5, this has to be a 9. If this is 3 and 9, this has to be a 5. If this is 4 and 5, this has to be an 8. And if this is 4 and 9, that doesn't work because this would then also have to be a 4. 4 and 9 is 13 and 4 is 17. Yes, so it would have two 4s here. So this can only be a 5, an 8, or a 9, which allows us to take another look at these combinations here. Now, we know that we have here, let's see, if this is a 5, this cannot be a 7 because there is no 5, 7, that would need a 10 there. 5, 8 would put a 9 here. 5, 9 would put an 8 here, that's fine. 8, 7 doesn't work, we would need another 7. 8, 9 would put a 5 here. And finally, 9, 7 would put a 6 here. 9, 8 would keep the 5 here, and 9, 9 doesn't work. So we get 5, 6, 8, or 9 as our possibilities for that square. And so we've narrowed things down a fair bit there. We had a lot more digits in there just a moment ago than we do now. Now looking at this here, we have 3, 4, 5, and 9. So we need 1, 2, 6, 7, 8 to go in here. We already have some options ruled out. It's not supremely helpful right now. And I'm just going to hit pause for a moment here as I'm being interrupted. Okay, we're back again. Sorry about that brief interruption. But during that interim, I discovered I can show you my face. So, yeah, no, I guess it wasn't for nothing. So let's pick up where we left off. We'll unpause here. And we were pretty close to done with this puzzle, honestly. There's a little bit left to solve, but I mean, we've got it pretty narrowed down in a lot of places. So continuing to have a look here. Let's see what we can do. Had a little drink of water as well, which is always nice. Refresh the throat. No, that doesn't help as we already used that. Okay, let's have a look at this. Okay, this is an interesting little possibility here. So let's look at this combination of cells here. And let's keep in mind our rule of 45s. So we know that the sum of this box, scratch my nose here, has to be 45. Now we can see that the sum of this box here, the sum of these here is 48. We know that we're going to have to subtract whatever total is in these little two outy cells sticking out here. Now what are the possibilities? This could be a 1 and a 3, that would be 4. And in that case, that corresponds to this being a 1 to make up the 45, because it would leave us with 44. We could have a 3 and a 3, or alternatively, 1 and a 5, which would make 6, and that corresponds to the 3. And finally, we could have a 3 and a 5 making 8. That corresponds to the 5. So, unfortunately, no new information. We'd already narrowed things down there, but, you know, a fun little thing to spot, I suppose. Let's see then. Alright, let's have a look at this, and we can do this in a couple of ways. I'm going to do it the more mental mathsy way, but you could also do it by crossing off all the possibilities that can and can't be possible here, right? So if you were to do it that way, this has to contain an 8 or a 9, so let's turn off anything that doesn't have an 8 or a 9. It has to have a 6, so let's get rid of anything that does not have a 6. And that leaves us with 4 possibilities. We can then go through those possibilities and notice what I'm about to demonstrate using mental maths, that this cannot be a 7. But the way that I would normally prefer to do a case like this, we have a 6, we have either an 8 or a 9, which means we've got 14 or 15. Now let's look at the possible sums here. So remembering that we've got 14 or 15, this can't be a 1, 3, so it can't be a 4, because that would get rid of both the possibilities from this cell right here. So that means that if this was 6, 8, and 4, that would be 18, leaving us with a 5, so we couldn't have a 5 here. We already knew that, that's fine. 6, 9, and 4, that would leave us with a 6 here, which again is impossible. But what is possible? Let's see, we could have 6, 8, and 1, 5 makes another 6, so that gives us 12, and 8 is 20, a 3. We could have 6, 9, and 6, which is 21. That would be a 4, but we've already eliminated 4 from this. So possible options here are 6, 8, 1, 5, not 6, 9, 1, 5. And you can kind of already see, like, these sums, we've started from the smallest possible sum, so they're only going to get bigger in these two cells, which means the sum in this cell is only going to get smaller. Well, not the sum, the digit. So if we've started with this being a 3, obviously it can't go up to 7. We can eliminate 7 from this square is what I'm saying. So now 6, 8 makes 14. We've tried 1, 3. We've tried 1, 5. The only combination left to try is 3, 5. So 6, 8, 3, 5. That's another 8. So that would make this a 1. And 6, 9, and 3, 5. Well, that would be 6 plus 17, which is already 23. So this can't be 6, 9, 3, 5. It can't be 6, 9, 1, 5. It can, because that would give us a 2. So 9 is still possible here. I thought I could have eliminated the 9. But we have been able to narrow this down a fair bit now, which is nice. What else can we see here? We've got a 5 here, which gets the 5 out of here, giving us a 3. That takes the 3 out of here, and the 3 out of here, which takes the 1 out of here, and the 1 out of here. That guarantees us a 2. And again, we can do this one of two ways. We know we have to have a 6 and a 2, so we can now remove anything that doesn't have both of those. And then we have either 6, 2, we could have this bottom option here, which I can in fact circle, 6, 2, 3, 4, 8, but we can see actually that this can't have a 4 in it at all, so we can get rid of that. Meaning we have got instead 1, 2, 5, 6, 9. So this has to be the 1, that's the only place left. This has to be the 5, and now this has to be the 9, which gives us the 8 here as well, and that gives us a 3. We can take 2 out of here, we can take 3 out of here. What else can we do? We can take 8 out of here. We've got 2, 3, 8, 9 all in place, so we can take 2 and 3 out of here. And we can take 1 out of here. And so now this is either 4, 7, in which case this is 5, 6, or this is 5, 6, in which case this is 4, 7. Now we can take a look at the 16 up here. So if this is 3 and 4, that makes 7, and this would have to be 9. That's not possible. 3 and 7 makes 10, which goes with 6. That's fine. So 6 is a possibility. 5 and 4 makes 9, and that would make this a 7, which is impossible. So we can have neither 3 and 4 nor 5 and 4. That can't be a 4. It has to be a 7. Knowing that that's a 7, we could have 7, 3, 6, or we could have 7, 5, gives us 12, and then 4. Can't have 4, so it's got to be 7, 3, 6. It's the only thing that works. Lovely. That lets us take 6 and 3 out of here. That gives us our 5 and our 8, and we get a 2, 4 pair as well. We can take 6 out of here. There's no longer anywhere a 6 can appear here, so this has to be 5, 8, 9. Take away the 7. We now have a 5 and a 9 guaranteed to be in these two squares, a 5 guaranteed to be in these two squares, and that tells us a 5 has to go in the top row of this middle box and it can't go here, so this has to have a 5. Actually, it can't go here either, so this has to be a 5 right here, and this can't be a 5. What else do we get? This can't be a 5, And in fact, if this is at least a 6, this can't be a 6 or a 7 because those would both put us over 12. So we could have 6, 3, and 3. That wouldn't work. And in fact, we can't have a 3 anyway, so 3 is gone. We've got a 4. So we have 4, 6 making 10 and 2, or we have 4, 7 making 11 and 1. But we've now taken the 4 out of up here, so this can't be a 2, it's a 1, 4, 1, 7. That gives us an 8 here, that gives us a 4 here. I told you we were almost done. That gives us a 5, 6 here. 8, 2, the 2 is gone, so that's a 1. Now that's a 2, and that's a 1. And we may have gone wrong somewhere here, because this now supposedly cannot be any of the remaining digits. So I have missed a possibility here. I'm going to check my working. Good lord, 13 errors. Alright, let's backtrack. What an embarrassment. Now, I know some people would prefer to spot their own errors. That's where I've gone wrong. That's where I've gone wrong. I assumed that these were the only cells, only digits that could go in these 3 cells. That's incorrect. I hadn't finished working this out yet. And in fact, you could also have, I believe, a 4, 6, 7, or 8 in here. It might be worth working that out and writing down what can go in here. That's where it all went wrong, because we thought that had to be a 3 if it wasn't a 5. But in fact, there is another possibility here, at least one other possibility here. We just haven't worked out what it is. Let me see here. We could have a 2, that would be okay. If we had a 2, this would be an 8, this would be 6, 7, 9, this would be 8, so that's fine. We already have a 3. Could we have a 4? If we have a 4, and this is a 6, this is 7, 8, 9, and this is a 6, so that's okay. We can have a 4. We've already got a 5 in there. Oh, the 5 can't go there. If we put a 6, this is 4, 7, 8, 9, 2, yeah, that'll work, so that could be a 6, could be a 7, 6, 8, 9, that's fine, and it can't be an 8 or a 9 because of these. Okay, so that means there are actually a lot more possibilities than just a 3 and a 5 for this square, which is where all of my logic went wrong, resulting in a very, very incorrect solution. Okay. And that sort of thing will happen if you are not paying attention properly. So, you know, it pays to know what all your steps are and be pretty thorough and meticulous about it. As I think I was saying, I know there are some people who play these puzzles who would not use the how am I doing button at all. They prefer to try and spot mistakes for themselves, and that's perfectly valid as well. Sudoku is a judgment-free game. So, let's see. Well, this can't have a 5, let's turn off the 5. This can't have a 5, let's turn off the 5s. There's many different ways, and I mean, the standard that you play by is just the standard that you picked out for yourself, right? Some people will do it all by mental maths, and they won't rely on these combinations at the bottom at all. They want to work them out for themselves. Some people won't let the computer sum up the cages for them. They would rather do it themselves. And if it's 1 row or 1 column, even 2 rows or 2 columns, I'll do that. But once it gets into, you know, a sum that's like 345s, it's just kind of a quality of life thing. I tend to think it's just a thing of convenience that you can just have it do the sum for you. I know I could sit here and work it out, but I mean, well, it's a slippery slope, isn't it? Because I know I could sit here and solve the Sudoku, so maybe there should just be a button that says solve, because I know I could do it in theory, but, you know, I don't know. It's a matter of where you draw the line. Now, all of this, as I'm sure you can intuit, is me waffling while I try to recover from the mistakes that I made and figure out where to go next for real. And it's actually mildly tricky to do so. Let me just take a minute and look at the... Oh, this can't be an 8. It doesn't help us too much though. That's an interesting little one. So let's look at these plus this. If this is 4, 7, this has to be 2. And that means this cannot be 2, 6 or 1, 7. It would have to be 3, 5. So 3, 5. And if this is 5, 6, this has to be 1, 7. But in neither case can this be 2, 6. And looked at another way, if this was 2, 6, this has to be a 4 or a 7. We've taken away the 5, 6 here because of the 6, and this would have to be 4 and 7. So we can remove 2, 6 as a possibility from here. And by the same token, this has to contain a 1 or a 3. This has to contain a 1 or a 3, so we can take the 3 out of here. Nice. And that leaves us with really only 2 places in this column that an 8 could go, which is either the top cell or the bottom cell. And maybe it's now time to have a look at what this 10 cage can be. So we know that this has a 1 or a 3 and this has a 1 or a 3. There's also a 9 here, so this can be neither 1 nor 9. That's gone. Could this be a 2? Well, a 2 would force an 8 here, which would conflict with these 8s here. So this can't be a 2, 8, but it could be an 8, 2 in this direction. Just going to plug in my phone here. I'm sure there are some of you screaming at my battery gauge. What else you got? Well, if it was 3, 7, that would eliminate 3, 5 and 1, 7, so it can't be 3, 7. 4, 6 should be okay. 4, 6 should be okay. So that narrows things down a bit for us, and in particular, we now know this has to have a 1 in it. Great. And now if it had 2, 6, that eliminates 2, 8 and 4, 6 from here, so that's no good. 2, 7, 8 seems okay at first blush. Should be. That allows that to be 4, 6, and that would be a 3. Yeah, that's okay. 3, 5, 9, well that eliminates 5 and 9, so that's no good. 3, 6, 8, that eliminates 2, 8 and 4, 6, so that's no good. 4, 5, 8, that's 4, 6, 5, 4, 6, 2, 8, so that's no good. And 4, 6 is okay. So this actually has to have both a 1 and a 7 in it. Now looking at it, place a 1 somewhere in this cage, but it can't be here, and it can't be here, so it goes at one of the extremes. This can no longer be a 3. It has to be a 6 or a 7. We've got to place a 7 somewhere in this cage. 7, but it can't go here. It could still go here, that's fine, and it could still go here. And then we have either 2, 8 or 4, 6. Let's see. So we have 1, 7, 8, 8. So the 8 has to go into one of these, and the 2 has to go into one of these. Or if we do it as 4, 6, well, the 6 can't go there, so the 6 goes into one of these, and the 4 can't go here or here, so the 4 goes into one of these. Okay, so that's narrowed it down a fair bit. And now we know that this has to have 2, 8 or 4, 6, so does this. So this can't have an 8, and this can't have a 4, making it a 3, and making this a 4. That gets rid of a 4 from there and there. What else we got? Not quite sure. pause to think, actually. We can work out the sum of these two plus this one by doing all of these, right? And now 4 times 45 is 135. Sorry, 4 times 45 is 180, my mistake. We add the 4 here, so we get to 165, and that means that the other 3 cells here have to get us from 165 to 180, which is 15. Now, is there some way to get to 15 if this is a 3? If it's a 3, then the other 2 would have to sum to 12. The only way that we could do that with these numbers would be 6 and 6, which would break the rules. So this can't be a 3. So now, this is the only place left that can have a 3 in this column. That also gets rid of the 3 from here and the 3 from here. And now we know that there has to be a 3 in this box here. Knowing that we have to make 15 and we've got a 6, 7, that makes 13, that means this has to be a 2. And that is going to give us a good bit of information here, right? So we get 8, 2, remove the 2 from out of here, we get the 1, 2, we can take the 1 out of here, we can take 2, 8 out of here, giving us 4, 6, take the 6 and the 4 out of here, we get 2, 7, 8, this is a 1, we can take 7 and 8 out of here, giving us a 9, that gives us a 5 over here, that gives us a 6 here, now 5, 6 and 9 are gone, so that's 8, and this is a 5, 6 has gone from here, 5 has gone from here, so it's 3 or 7, making this 1 or 5, this can no longer be 8, it's 6 or 7, 6, 7, this is 6, 7 as well, 1, 2, 3, we need to place a 4 and a 5 in here, we know the 5 can't go here, so that's that. And now we have 6, 5, 4, which makes 15, and we need a 9 to make it to 24, so a 9 goes here, the 5, get rid of the 5 from here, giving us 1, 7, that gives us a 3, and this has to be a 2, this makes 3, 5, that means a 7 has to go here, 8 here, 4 here, 4, 7's gone, we got 5, 6 instead, 7, 8 are both gone from here, 7's gone from here, 2's gone from here, gives us a 1, this can't be a 3, now we've got 1 and 3 makes 4, so we need to make 11 out of this, which could be 7, 4 or 6, 5, so this is a 4 or a 5. What else we got? This has to be a 6, no 6 here, no 6 here, no 6 here, which means no 6 here, that gives us our 9, take the 9 out of these, and this now has to be a 4 or a 5, only it can't be a 5 because of this, so it's a 4, that's a 5, take the 5 out of these, groovy. This has to be a 3 now, which makes this a 2, and this a 9, and this an 8, which gets the 8 out of here. Now we've got a 6, 7 pair, so that gives us an 8 here. The 3 can't go here, so this is a 4 or a 7, but the 4's already gone, so that's a 7 and that's a 4. Now we can take the 4 out of these, which means we can take the 6 out of these, and the 7 out of this. We can take the 3 out of these, that gives us a 1, 2, and now we got 2, 6, 8 here, which is 16, so we need 7, and I believe I've made a mistake again. Where have I gone wrong this time, I wonder? Have I just flipped 2 digits around when I shouldn't have? I have. That's a 4, so that can't be a 4, that has to be a 3. That's the 4, that's the 3, that's the 4. I've flipped that around, because that now has to be a 6, and this is 1, 3, 5, that makes 12, what am I, no, 9, so that should be a 6 as well. So now how am I doing? Something else has gone wrong over here, because this is no longer a 6, it's a 4, and this is a 6, and this is a 4, and this is a 6, and we're still wrong. 1 plus 3 is 4, 4, 4, 8, that has to be a 7, I'm sorry. We've already got a 2 here, so this can't be a 2. And this can't be a 1. Oh, good lord. So that's a 3, actually. 7 can't go here. 1 can't go here. Makes a 1 here. We're doing okay there. 3, well, 9 and 1, 3. That does make 13, so that's something at least. Jesus. Neither 2 nor 7 can go here, so that's a 4. We can take the 4 out of here and the 4 out of here. There we go. Sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. We accidentally transpose 2 digits and put them in the wrong order, and that causes headaches. Okay, so this now has to be the 8 because of the 5-6 pair. This has to be the 4. This is a 6, making this a 5 and this a 6. And we have 7, 2, 9. 50 minutes and 35 seconds with a couple of little mistakes in there. I'm going to go and drink some water because talking for an hour solid hurts your voice. And I'll be back later with a bit more of my regular sort of stuff, langual and lingual. I probably won't be doing these Sudoku videos that often, not least because it's an hour-long time investment, and you may not want to sit and watch me mumble about a puzzle for that long. But also because I don't tend to do as well on the more difficult ones as maybe I should be advertising to the world. So anyway, I'll see you later for Langle and Lingual. Have a good one.